Stoked to be the Stokes with Brian and Ariana. It's about to get real, you better believe me. Just got married, trying to make it through life. See, with
faith, honesty, and respect, we'll get through anything.
Stoked to be the Stokes, yeah. Yes, we are. Stoked to be the Stokes, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Stoked to be the Stokes with Brian Lamar Stokes.
And Ariana Stokes.
Here we talk all things love and life. Today's episode is titled Happy Father's Day. As simple as that.
Yes.
If you're watching or listening now, it's probably Tuesday, which Father's Day has recently passed, but we still want to talk about our dads. We should start doing the episodes before the holiday, maybe, or is it?
Well, this is because it's Saturday right now.
Technically for us, but for everybody listening.
Oh, maybe. But no, because we're only 2 days from Father's Day. Had we done it on last episode, we would have been like 4 or 5 days ahead.
Before. Okay, well, that's fine. Anyhow, we're gonna start off with something to chew on. If this is your first time listening, we always start off with something to chew on. Give us something to chew on. I don't even remember what we said we were going to do.
Oh, okay. So you guys know when we did the Mother's Day episode, we talked kind of like a few fun memories about when we first recognized that our mothers did not know everything or were wrong for the first time. So this time I thought it would be fun to discuss, as we know, men are usually seen as the providers of their home. Just having listened to a lot of dads talk about one thing that is important for them. They talk about, creating an environment where their children have no lack, or they experience no lack. Either way. So like even if there is a lack, the children don't know about it. So my question was, when was the first time that you recognized that there was some kind of lack in the house, or that you started noticing, maybe you were exposed to another lifestyle, or you were like, I always thought we were like, did you think you were rich growing up, poor growing up, about average compared to the rest of the world?
You changed the question.
No, that was the question.
That was not the question. You don't need to talk so close to the mic.
Am I really too close?
Yeah.
What did I say it was going to be?
Oh, girl, you talking loud today.
I'm like a good...
Yeah, well, you wanted your last episode. It was covering her mouth, and I guess she wanted everybody to see her mouth for some reason. Yeah, sure. I thought we were going to talk about what we thought our dads did. That's what you said.
That's a part of it. I feel like, because for me, like, I knew that my daddy worked. Well, I thought that my dad worked for the governor. Like, I misheard something, and so when a friend asked me on the playground in elementary school, she was like, "Oh, what does your dad do?" And I was like, "Oh, he works for the governor." And they were like, "Of Florida?" I'm like, I guess. Like, if that's what governor's rule states, sure. And then she was like, "Oh, so you guys must be rich, huh?" And I was like, we have a house. I'm just picturing my house in my mind, like, we're comfortable. I'm in elementary school. So I'm like, I guess. I don't know. So then, like, later that afternoon after school, like, I asked my dad, and I'm like, "Daddy, are we rich?" And he was like, "We're rich in love, honey." And in my mind, I'm like, that sounds like we're poor. Like, I didn't ask if we were rich. You know what I meant. Do we got money? Like that, you work for the governor, the governor, but in reality, he worked for the government. And so, I don't know, to a child, it's like government, governors over the government. So, but I think that was the first time I was ever put in a position where I had to assess if we were wealthy or not wealthy. How do you measure that? Is it the size of your house? Is it if you have a house? So that's why I kind of put the two questions together. So what did you think your dad did when you were younger?
I just knew my dad was a manager of something, and he would come home dirty.
So did you think y'all were rich because he was a manager, like the boss?
I thought that, my dad's the boss. Because when we would go to his job, like, we would sit at his desk and, like, play games on the computer. Everybody would always treat me nice. Like, "Oh, your keys, son. Yeah, all that." I just worked kind of like in a factory. To this day, I still don't know what he was doing.
Oh.
Could have been smuggling drugs in from the
He
cartel.
had a desk. I would think, he's the boss. Like, okay, my dad's the boss.
But I'm like, he's the boss. But I don't think as a child we knew rich, poor, or whatever.
When did you learn rich, poor?
I think I learned that we were like we ain't have it all. Maybe college, sort of, kind of. I mean, not like, because you see things on TV and you're like, oh, you rich or whatever. But I'm like, we never like lacked for things. We always had sneakers and clothes and food, and not just like basic pay less stuff. So it was just like,
ooh, not basic. We like to pay less.
I understand that, but
and the Kmart.
Yeah, we were there too. But yeah, I think
y'all
college.
were there. Were y'all buying stuff, or y'all were just looking at us basic folk enjoying our shopping spree?
Okay, gated community. Okay,
we weren't always in the gated community.
All right.
We weren't always in a gated community.
All right. But yeah, I think college is when I finally was my eyes opened up to be like, oh, okay, everybody got nice cars, because I had like a 96 something or Grand Am coupe. People coming in, what was the year, 2007, freshmen or sophomores. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, y'all can always go out. Like, y'all just got money. Y'all got credit cards? What? Huh?
Oh,
What is going on? Whatever. But I went to a predominantly white school.
Oh, so I was gonna say we didn't have cars in college.
So it was a different experience, like altogether. But it was just like, oh, people like have more. And like when we used to go visit our friend, when I used to go visit friends' houses, I'm like, oh,
what's that, like the size?
Like yeah, the size. It's big. It's just like, okay, what is a cul-de-sac? Hello, new word today, like that. Yeah.
Okay. That was it. That was my only something to chew on, to be honest. I didn't have like an article or anything.
Okay,
like
so
that.
I can answer when did you find out y'all was broke? Well, not broke or whatever. When did y'all find out you was broke? They never find out because they're not.
I wouldn't say no. For me, when I went to college, my first 2 years of college were spent at a private college, Duke University, and so that for me.
Oh, you went to Duke, and that was after you went to the private elementary school?
I was in private school for elementary,
right,
and then public school for the end of elementary through high school.
Interesting, right.
Most of my close friends in high school, middle and high school, I would say our families were probably along the same lines financially, in that I didn't feel like anyone's house was that much bigger than mine, or I felt like everyone's jobs, although I didn't know what people's parents did for work, but it just seemed like they all worked regular schedules, Monday through Friday, and that was that. I remember one person's house I went to, they had like a huge backyard. Like they were probably on like an acre plus of land. And that was probably the first time that I asked, like, well, how many acres do we have? Or what's typical for like a house to be on? Because we went to their house for something, and just the backyard space, it was like, all of this is y'all's? Like, that's a lot of land compared to like in a neighborhood where all the houses are just right next to each other. It was like private driveway and then big backyard, big house, but otherwise I don't think, probably until college, where I started hearing people's experiences about maybe like where they had been or different kinds of vacations, or they had been out of the country. I think there was one like icebreaker thing we had played, and maybe I was the only one who hadn't been out of the country, and I'm like, when did y'all have time to go out of the country? Like, where did y'all go? Like, we had family vacations. Like, did y'all have family vacations growing up?
Yeah, family reunions. Sometimes we would go to the Cape.
Okay, so we would go to like Orlando. It's like an hour away. Okay. Or we would go, family reunion would be a vacation. But these people had like passports and, or like I didn't
get my passport till I was 28.
Oh, yeah. Well, how old was I? I was after college too. I was probably like mid-20s. Okay. But I think, I had never tried steak before, because to me steak was like if you were wealthy and you go out and you order a steak. But at Duke they had like, what's it called? The Duke Faculty Room, I think, which was like an upscale restaurant. What was it? What was it? I forget what it was called, but it was like an upscale restaurant. And so sometimes at the end of the term, we would use our food points there, because if you had a lot of leftovers, like, we may as well just go splurge a little bit. And that was my first time trying steak. But to me, that was like a, high class kind of thing. So I think being exposed to people who were either from other countries, had been to other countries,
maybe
I was like,
had food stamps or something, because I had steak at 6, at 7, 8, 9. Probably, in my family, they feed the babies at 2.
Shrimp was the luxury for me, I think. If we went out, if you ordered some kind of seafood, it was like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, go ahead. But I would order like the chicken. Like, I had a rule where I would not order something that cost more than whoever was paying. So normally I'm getting like a chicken dish or something. But yeah, going out, and they were like, oh, we'll have the steak. We'll have the, saying stuff. And I'm like, what is that? And it would come out, this chicken and potatoes. And y'all talking about it's chicken cordon bleu and I forget some fancy sauce. Potato name. And I'm like, this chicken, potatoes, and Alfredo sauce. Anyway, so yeah, that was probably the first time that I was like, some people have had experiences that I didn't think people had as children. But I don't think I ever thought that we were like poor or broke. I just figured, we're comfortable and humble, because Daddy said we rich in love. So we must be humble if we're not broke, because he didn't really answer my question. Yeah. You ready to jump into the topic?
I am.
Okay, so we wanted to go over a few lessons that we learned from our fathers in honor of Father's Day, similar to how we did for Mother's Day. I think we each have, three?
Yes.
3 lessons that we learned. I kind of picked, I picked 3 lessons. I had to kind of consolidate mine into like categories. So I narrowed it down to 3, but I think that you should go first.
I should go first.
Yes.
The first lesson or whatever my dad taught me was how to be quick with comeback jokes. No one can outdo me.
That explains a lot.
You want to go back and forth? I will give you back and forth. You want to go a little deeper? I will talk about your dark secrets that you told me. However you want to get cut up, you can get cut up. But on the surface level, my dad taught me how to come back quick. Like, all right, you want to play the dozens? You come, I'm right behind you. That's how
like
it is.
Demonstration, like you just noticed that about him, or he taught you like, here's how you play the Dirty Dozen.
I think it's
or here's how you talk about somebody's like.
No, I don't think it was like that. I think that you pick up because he's always coming at somebody. They're coming back and he's coming right back at him.
Oh, okay.
So you just like pick it up.
That explains so much. Because, Brian, you've come for me at times where I did not come for you, send for you, call for you, ask for you. And I'm like, why am I being attacked?
I think because so many times, in my life, I'm thinking everybody always coming. Like, I got to come back. And you like, wait, I ain't even mean nothing like
for example, I could be like, oh, your elbows will ask you, want me to get some lotion or some shea butter to put on your arms before you go up on stage? And you could be like, you want to wax that upper lip you got there? Whoa! Like, I'm trying to cover you, man of God. You are exposing me to myself. Like, what?
Ooh.
Yeah, so I see. Okay, that makes sense. I don't think I've ever heard your dad come for somebody directly. Maybe in conversation, talking about people, because he is really funny. Mm-hmm. Brian's dad is really funny, y'all. Like, he is really funny, but I haven't seen him in action, I guess, in terms of, like, going back and forth. You're not going to pick him up, are you? Okay, that's what we're doing. Wow, that was Max, everybody. He wasn't being so needy right now. Max, sit down. Okay, for me, I guess in a similar sense, or maybe my dad was preparing me for more defense, I guess. Mm-hmm. One of the things, I would say overall, he taught us to always think ahead. So I kind of group lessons that he taught us under that category because, like, for example, when we were really young, he would say stuff like, you got to remember to duck. Always know when to duck. You know? Like, so he would, like, I might be making this part up, but he would maybe kind of, like, jokingly, like, you know how you tell a story, you're like, oh, and then the person was like, bop, like that. You know? And I would be like, Daddy, like, why would you put your hand like that close to my face? And he would be like, you always got to know when to duck. And I'm like, when would I? Oh, I'm sorry. I would be like, when would I be in a situation where I have to duck? But that wasn't the point. The point is you need to know when. And you need to do it quickly. You don't wait to see, are they going to swing you? Even if you think of something's coming at you, you need to duck. And you might be ducking for no reason, but at least you're out of the way. So he would teach us how to think ahead. Why is that so funny?
You said, and you like, wait.
Oh, right. Because he liked to do little things like, you know, and it's like, okay, Daddy, like that hurt. I know it's a demonstration, but you got to know when to duck. Or like he would tell us, for example, he would say, like, he would give us different, like, laws or theories. And one that I always remember, I think, he'll have to correct me when he hears this if I'm wrong. I think it's Murphy's Law. Let me look it up before the episode ends. But basically it states that whatever task you have to do will take as long as you give it. So if you say, oh, I'm going to allot two weeks of time, you know, for this. Or I'm going to allot myself 2 hours of time for this. That's how much it's going to take.
I think he's told me that too, like you put this time aside, it'll happen. If you don't, it won't.
Right. Like that, and if you give yourself 2 weeks for a 2-day project, likely you're going to draw it out in 2 weeks. But if you say, oh, I need this by 5 p.m., some way, somehow, you're likely going to have it done by 5.
That was me in college all the time with the papers.
Yeah, the good college effort. Yeah, it is true. So for me, I put all that under the category of think ahead. So if you know that you need to plan your time out, plan your time out because that's how long it's going to take. If you know you're in a situation where you need to know what someone's next step is likely going to be, make sure you're prepared to respond to it or to avoid it altogether. Know when to duck.
Okay.
Yeah. So always think ahead.
All right.
Maybe I need to learn that with you too when you're
No, it's hard. It's hard for mine. It's hard for mine. We're on different.
You're real quick. I don't know how to think ahead for some of this shit.
I mean, you could try. But you better duck.
I've just learned how to come back, so I can
Yeah.
duck and what do you call it when you duck and
uppercut, swing? I don't know.
This
Duck
is
and dodge.
duck and dodge. What do you call it when you duck and then you swing?
Duck and swing.
Duck and swing. Yes.
Okay, my second one of what lesson or what my dad taught me in that area is I'm trying to remember what I put down because I'm trying to remember from my head.
I told you.
What I put down.
It's okay. You'll remember.
Oh, I remember.
Yes.
He was the first one to introduce me to I'll say my empathic, my spiritual feelings of when I can feel like a person is like.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. I don't know the word for that though.
Like being emotionally intelligent, but others or like being an empath, where you like can feel other people's
or
being
like
prophetic.
That. Or he'll be like,
"Your daddy, a prophet."
Yeah, I am. Let me tell you something. If he really gave his life to Christ, I don't think nobody could touch him. Huh?
Oh.
All right.
We'll keep praying.
All right. But yeah, he first because I forget the conversation that we would have, and I'm like, but what if this happens or what if that happens? And I need to call. He was like, you will feel it before. You feel if it happens, or you will feel it if it happens. Like I could feel like if something's wrong. So I always thought like I could like feel things, and as I grew up and learned more about the word and what's the word?
Spiritual gifts.
Yeah, spiritual
Discernment?
gifts. But people pouring on it. What is it called? When people
pouring on it.
Fan the flame
flames.
of it. I was like, oh, okay, this is what it is. So when I do think of my dad, and like I say, if he really gave his life to Christ for real. He would be on fire, but I think that I don't know if I inherited it or whatever, but he just taught me how to think outside of the human experience.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, like that.
Like beyond just what you're seeing in the
beyond
natural.
just what you exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So he began that. He made me think about that. He had my mind wandering about that and what these feelings I was feeling.
So when was the first time? So like he said, "Oh, you'll just feel it." Did you? I'm assuming you didn't know what that meant, or like, what do you mean? I'll just feel it, or did you just trust? Like, okay, I'll feel something.
I think I just trusted it.
And then the first time it happened, were you like, "Oh, this is what he meant," or like,
I
were you a child?
I don't remember that part.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember that part, but I can remember like in high school. No, even like in middle school, like I could like point out foster kids or like people who needed like not a word, but like just be extra kind.
Oh.
Because then I didn't know what it was, but I'm like, oh, this person needs more love than these other people. Oh, this person seems like they're alone or something's like hurt. So it was like let me be friends even if everybody thinks they weird or something like that because I know it's something there. I just don't know, but let me just.
I really
be that.
love you. You have such a big heart.
Oh, okay.
I pray our children inherit that from the both of us. Okay. I thought you meant like if you were in a dangerous situation or something and you just kind of feel like, okay, I need to
No, it's that
myself.
too. I believe it's both. I just don't know how to categorize it because I don't know the title. But it is.
But like people's
both.
needs, like that's a big thing. That explains a lot too. Okay. Just curious. So pairing that with your first lesson, do you feel like you discern when, what's that you say? You ever gone too far? So before you bop, do you ever feel like, oh, this person can't take that right now?
Anytime that it has happened, we've become great friends after the fact.
Oh, okay.
Because clearly I see something in you that you can take it and you might not like me before, but then once you become my friend and you need me to use my tactics on other people who are trying to come against us, it's all good. It's how it happened.
Okay.
The best
you be making me nervous.
The best of friendships for me started, I had to cuss you out first. And now we're friends. We had a big blow, and now we're friends.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Christopher. Cordial, hello, my best friend.
I was going to say, who else is that?
Me and Chris almost went blow to blow. Like, are you kidding me?
Physically
Yes! My best friend.
That ain't how none of my friendships started, but I'm glad it worked out. Okay, because you make me nervous. Sometimes you say that to people, and I'm just like...
They could take it because the Lord told me.
And I'm like, Lord, please just heal their heart if there's any wound there after that comment. Because sometimes you say stuff to people and I can tell that they're looking like, well, dang. And they'll laugh it off like, oh,
yeah, hello, friend.
in public.
We friends.
But I'm like, what if they're hurting? Okay, hello, friend.
Yep, hello, friend.
Okay. Well, my second lesson or category, I would say, is that you need to always come prepared. And by prepared, it means like with your own whatever you need to be prepared with. For example, he would say, bring your own calculator. Like, I don't know if you ever heard my dad say that. Meaning, like, if you're coming to discuss something with someone, if it's related to money or numbers at all, make sure you have your own calculator so that is there over there adding stuff up or describing what the stipulations of an agreement are going to be. You have your own copy there or your own calculator there, and you can make sure that what you have is adding up to what they have, as opposed to just trusting, like, oh, okay, you say it's this. Okay, that sounds about right. And I think even
That's good.
in line with something sounding about right, he would have us do these drills specifically with math, because my dad is, big into math. He would have us do these drills like in the grocery store, where if there was a sale, like, oh, 20% off. Okay, what's 20% off of this? Without using a calculator. Or, two half a gallons of orange juice are this price if they're on sale this week. Okay, what is the better buy? Getting 2 half a gallons or getting a whole gallon based on the price? Or he'll still send us little things, or 3 for $5. So what is it each? So that we could just learn how to calculate in our heads, and he would teach us the different like shortcuts of math, which is helpful now, because if I'm ever in a situation where maybe the bill doesn't look right, I only know that because I know what it should look like. Maybe not exactly.
That's happened multiple times.
Yeah, and I'm like, this should be closer to like 33, no more than $35. How did we get to 42? Let me see the breakdown. Like, so I feel like now I can like look at numbers and be like, yep, that's about what it should be, or like something's off, or we got charged extra, or you didn't do the discount somewhere. So yeah, so always come prepared with your own calculator, or your own copy of agreement or whatever. And then I think the other part of that, oh no, I guess that was that. The other part of that, though, is that you're not going to get talked into something that you are not prepared to be in agreement with. Okay. So, like, one thing, and we always joke about this, is if I was ever trying to push my dad to agree to something sooner than he wanted to. Can I say it? You can say it.
You need to answer now? No.
Oh, but you got to say it with the element of surprise in the beginning. Oh, you need to answer now? Oh, that's easy. The answer's no. That's how he would say it every time, to the point where he would say, oh, you need to answer now? And I'm like, no, take your time, because I already know the next part. So I've learned that even if I don't have to say it to people, that's my thinking. Like, if you're going to try to push me to make an answer, to make, any kind of agreement right now, it's easier for me to just say no and walk away than to get pushed into something and later find out, oh, I should have taken more time, or I could have taken more time. Even if it comes to like I think I've tried to call you with like, oh, there's this timeshare thing, and they're saying we can take a vacation for 3 days, but we got to sign up now because she just got her manager to agree to $75 instead of $100, and if we go a second time, it'll only be, and you're like, well, we'll talk about it when I get home. And I'm like, but the deal's on the table now. And I think you've said it to me like, oh, she needs to answer now. And it would just bring it back like, okay, the answer is no. Because nothing is that urgent, like likely it's going to work out more in their favor than mine. So that's a part of being prepared, so that you don't have to suffer the consequence of getting pushed into a situation you really weren't prepared for. Okay. Yeah.
Good. I love that one.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Me too.
Third one for me. It's a quick one because I don't want to get deep and I'm in a happy place. But my dad, another lesson or whatever we're calling it, he taught me, and I said it for my mom too, how to forgive, but differently because he was the one I had to forgive.
Oh, okay.
So he was like the first person like in life that it was like my adult forgiveness, like the big forgiveness for what, he had done or what we had been through and all of that. So he did. And we have a better relationship, and it's actually good. Like, we talk, we FaceTime, we interact. I can share stories.
Y'all laugh.
We laugh. Oh my God, we was on the phone the day before yesterday. I could not, y'all. My dad was on Facebook, and this happened like
You gonna put him out there again after he just found out you put himself out there?
He thought he was messaging somebody, and he put somebody's name in something. He thought it was a private message, and he put that on Facebook,
like on a wall.
And I had told him a month later that I said, yeah, because you put that man's business out there. I'm like, damn, you real rough. You still doing it? He said, wait. You saw that message? I screenshot it and sent it to him.
We all saw it.
He started going off. He says, I'm done with Facebook. It's for these kids. And I'm done with it. And we were laughing on the phone for an hour. And I said, but it's over. It's done. Like, he said, for you, it's been a month for you. I found out today. I'm done with this. So he said he's not writing any more words or letters on Facebook. It's going to be all pictures.
That's probably for the best. I personally, because I see a lot of people do that, not mention other people's names, but just like a general, like, happy birthday, hope it's a great day. And it's like on your own wall or in a general post. And I'm like, who is this
who
to?
Is it? Why is it?
Ain't nobody tagged. Yeah. And then sometimes people will respond, thank you, blessing. I'm like, how did you know that was for you? It's like 5 people's birthdays a day on Facebook.
Maybe they're telepathic.
I'm like, sometimes I won't. I mean, it's not just a certain generation, but it's just interesting to me when I see things, and I'm like, I wonder where they think this is going, or where they think this is. So that's funny to me, and it's probably best he stick to the pictures, because if y'all ever seen his dad on Facebook, he will take a picture, like if we're in town and we'll do like a group shot, like a family shot. Next thing you know, it's his cover photo, it's his profile picture. Like, not, make an album and, here's when my son was visiting, we went out. Like, no, it's like cover. Even if he's not in the picture. Me and Brian have been his cover photo before. And I'm like, I myself, by myself, have been his dad's cover photo before. I
don't think he knows what he's doing.
And I'm like, why am I there under your dad's name? Like, that's me. Why are you not in it? Why is, like, what is going on?
And he puts him up immediately. It's like, and his cover photo could change 20 times a day. It's like,
right. If it's his friend's nephew who was just born, newborn picture, boom, profile picture.
Profile picture.
Are you related to this child? Like, it's funny to me. So I have to be careful what pictures I'm in or not. We make sure we're real close so you can't crop anyone out. Like, it's us. It's us. You get in the picture too. Okay, so the last lesson for me was pretty much about love and respect. And that, like, one thing my dad always emphasized with us is that love and respect start in the home. It starts in how we treat each other. And it should be so that you can't find that level of love and respect outside of the home.
That's
you
good.
should not be able to go anywhere else and feel more loved or more respected, or like you have more people in your corner than you feel when you're at home, with the people who it should start with. And so I know, like, for us, that would be promoted through, like, how we talk to each other, how just in regular conversation or like in conflict resolution, or even just like I know when I was younger, my dad would say certain things to me that were very, like, affirming. So it wasn't just like, oh, you're pretty, or oh, you're smart. Like, if I would do or say something, he would make a comment about it. And that's probably what stuck with me most. So I don't remember what it was, but when I was like 4, I repeated something back, like, oh yeah, because you said blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you have a good memory. And it stuck with me, like, I have a good memory. You can't tell me I don't remember something correct, because my daddy said, I have a good memory. I'll tell you what you said, how you said it, where you were standing, when you said it, because I have a good memory. Okay. Who said? My daddy said. Yes. All right. Or like one time I had finished, like, we had like a scholarship competition for like this private school. And so we had to like take like this test or whatever and write this essay. So he picked me up after we did the test or whatever. And after the test, he was like, oh, how'd it go? And I was like, it was challenging. And he was like, I like, whatever he said was like, I like the good word choice, or I like, how you, because I didn't say it was hard. But it was a challenge. And so I was like, I'm good with words. Like, I have good word choice, word selection, And so that stood out to me. Like, it's important, how you say something. You could say it was hard, or you can say it was challenging, which implies that you overcame it, but it did present a challenge, So those things stuck with me, just in that, how you love and how you respect others, it should be demonstrated in your home. It should start in your home. And, he was really good at teaching that through demonstration. I mean, still is. He's been really good at teaching that through demonstration, but also when we go out into the world, it should reflect that. So we shouldn't really, put ourselves in positions where we're allowing people to disrespect us or to disrespect anyone in our home, because it means that we're then prioritizing that person above our family, which should never be the case. So that's one of the biggest lessons, I would say.
All right, so shout out to Robert and Andrew.
Yes, we love y'all.
We love y'all.
We love y'all so much. Y'all know. Y'all already know.
We know how
we
feel
about
family.
Family in general. Like, family comes first. We're just very sentimental about our family. So that was a much shorter episode, but we did good.
Let's go on the high-low.
Oh, okay. Or
low high.
Okay, low high. For me, I'll go first because you went last time. My low was, I had a headache for like 3 days this week, and I hate headaches. And so that was just, but I praise God, because at work, the days where it was the worst were the most chill days at work. So I didn't have to push through it. The days where I had a lot more to do, the headache was tolerable, and by the end of the week, it was gone. But that was probably the low, just dealing with that all week, and then I would come home and feel like not really being fun or anything. Yeah.
And my low was, she had a headache for 3 days. Because I had a headache because she had a headache for 3 days, and I heard about it.
Being a baby.
And, oh my god!
Headaches are the worst.
I understand, but I was like, Lord, just heal it. I was laying my hands on her, and I said, Lord, what do you want from me? What are you trying to tell her? make this headache go away, because you were just out.
Heart.
You were just out. But that was my low too,
Yeah.
that headache, because I was like, this is a lot.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. You're so empathetic. That's
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Sweet. We gotta cut your nails.
We do.
I'm gonna do it for relief.
What's high?
Well, you go first for the high.
Oh, my high, I got to start work this week.
Oh yeah.
Finally, I'm in there. Great coworkers.
I'm
great
so
place,
glad you're loving it.
Kind.
Thank you, Jesus.
And it means so much to me because my last job, I was an addiction counselor. And
it made you want to go on drugs.
Yeah. But the people there
I'm just
were
kidding,
like,
government, if you're listening.
No,
you don't ever want to go on
no
no drugs.
I've never done drugs in my life.
No, never.
That were not prescribed. The people were just mean there. People were mean, not only mean, like disrespectful.
Y'all had cameras?
Cameras everywhere in every
brother.
office. The pay, I mean, I might as well work on an ice cream truck. It just was like ridiculous. So it's just like amazing how little under a year later, whatever, from being there to here, and it's just like, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Like here is like the whew, I feel like I get a break. I feel like I'm getting paid. I feel like, things are in order. I can get some training. People, you can ask questions. You can get it back. Like it's just good. So that's my high, and I really do appreciate that it doesn't take me out my mental. That I can come home and still do other things.
Yeah.
That I can make my own schedule.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
And that you have cool coworkers.
And I have great coworkers.
Because I feel like that makes all the difference when you have people who you kind of look forward to. Even though I know you won't see them every day because you're not like in the office every day. But just knowing you have people who you can like look forward to going to work with, yeah, I understand that. For me, I would say, okay, well, this week, despite the headaches, I got to, go out a couple of times and have some more interaction with my church family, which, Brian, well, we're both very active in church, but usually, like, I'm supporting Brian, or I'm just there to support in whatever way, miscellaneous, I guess. It's not necessarily like I'm assigned to a post. And so, just recently, I joined the deliverance team. So, I'm excited about that.
If you need to get delivered, come through. Because she got something for you. Gonna take it out of your spirit so you can live right and get delivered.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I
I was trying to see how that was gonna end.
I don't know. It was off the dome.
Right. And it's hard for me to go off somebody else's
yeah,
spot.
yeah.
I can only do when it's my own. But okay. So we had like deliverance.
So she'll clear it.
It was fine how you did before.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that when I went to the first meeting for the deliverance team, it wasn't just a meeting, it was training, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. It was actually training. It was really good, and it was good to kind of get to know some people in the church who I hadn't gotten to know, who I don't see regularly, and just to kind of get to hear a little bit more about them. And one guy connected with who he's starting a doctorate program for an area that I'm really interested in. So I'm like, oh, that'll be a great connection. He could tell me more, and just people of different ages and stages of life. So I'm excited to I love getting to know people. And then at the end of the week we had ladies night out over at Splitsville in downtown Disney, which I hadn't been to, so we have to do a date night down in downtown Disney because it was so nice.
Date night.
Yeah, and that was really fun because I was kind of nervous because I was like, oh, am I gonna have anyone to talk to? I'd be talking to people, but sometimes you feel like, well, I don't really have a circle to go to. But it was chill. It was really fun. And then we all got ice cream afterwards, and we just had a good time. So I'm glad that I went. It feels good to be getting, more plugged in because we've been at our church now for almost a year, which is wild. And yeah, I hadn't been actively serving in a specific role. So now I have the deliverance team and soon the nursery. So I'm excited for that.
Nice.
Yes.
If you're not following us on social media, it's at Stoked to be the Stokes. Exactly how it sounds, Stoked to be the Stokes. If you want to follow my lovely wife, it's Ariana Nicole Stokes. And if you want to follow me, it's at Brian Lamar Stokes.
And we're on 3 social media platforms.
3 social media platforms. YouTube, if you're watching us and seeing the visual, hey, how you doing? Don't we look nice? Podcast, if you're listening, don't we sound good? Music to your ears. And the third one is what?
I was going to say Instagram and Facebook.
But
you're right, the listening platforms as well. So Google
Instagram,
Play,
Facebook.
SoundCloud,
all
iTunes.
Stoked to be the Stokes. Yeah. SoundCloud, iTunes. Yeah, all of it.
All of it. So please go and subscribe,
please.
Share, rate if you can relate. Ratings are awesome. We love to see ratings and we love to see the comments.
The comments back. And if you're listening on a podcast, still head to the YouTube and subscribe to that. Please. Yes. Please. That concludes this episode of Stoked to be the Stokes with Brian Lamar Stokes.
And Ariana Nicole Stokes.
Oh, you saying your whole name?
I don't know. I think it's on the social media thing, but it didn't. Yeah.
Let's just say it with some confidence. That concludes this episode of Stoked to be the Stokes with Brian Lamar Stokes.
And Ariana Nicole Stokes.
Remember, with love,
faith,
honesty,
and respect.
we'll get through anything. See you next Tuesday, guys.
Bye, y'all.